Lives Matter released a 10-point plan in August that included calling an end to deportation. Do you feel as though this is a leveraging point for blacks, or does it sway the conversation entirely?
So I am so not politically correct. Once again, we are diluting our issues. We are being shot down in the street and you talking about immigration reform, right? So if you ever listen to WVON during the day, you talk about immigration reform, you're gonna lose every black senior that you got, right? They like, man, send them back. No, that's what it is. They're not politically correct, they're seniors. Now, I'm not suggesting that that's how I feel, but that's not my fight. And so, once again, here we go, adding another fight. So now here's the Black Lives Matter march because someone got murdered. And now we also got immigration reform, which is why now you got Chuy Garcia at the front of the Black Friday protest with Tom Ballinoff.
Say it again.
Right?
Say it again.
So again, we need to stop diluting and diffusing our issues for other people. Like, they got their own thing, we can meet up. But I'm not bringing you into my platform, because then what happens is, this is how it works, right? So you let somebody in, this is how it works. You let them in, because you want to be showing how fair you are, right? So now you the one person, you got the one person that's your homie, they down, they super cool with you, and then you say something that makes them uncomfortable. Now, they mention it, now you got to change your whole dialogue, because we got to worry about this one person being uncomfortable, even though they shooting all of us dead in the street, but the Latino guys like, but they're gonna take my mom, right? My point is, we have different issues. We can meet and intersect, but it's time to break up at the end of the day and take care of our own selves, because again, they will use us and leapfrog above us. It happens every time. Gay rights movement, we was all in the line. Gay people got gay marriage. What we got? Right? Latinos won the immigration reform. They got, Donald Trump trying to take it back, but they got immigration reform. What do we get? And then, if we ask about it, then they tell you it's got to be all lives matter. Because we don't want to offend nobody. We too fair to everybody but our dang own selves.
Is Black Lives Matter a major player in the 2016 presidential election? And if so, can their power outlast election night?
I'm gonna just say this. I don't, at this particular point, from what I've had to learn by trial and error, I don't think that it is gonna be any more sustained after election night than it has been them actually not producing anything out of what nothing sustainable for real that's shifted our quality of life while we're in the election. I learned a whole lot about politics with Rahm Emanuel. And I wasn't astute, and I endorsed Rahm Emanuel for a second term, saying that he was. This is what I'm saying. I'm giving this head on. And well, you know what? Forget that. I'll go a different route. I'm gonna go a different route. As a matter of fact, hey, get that camera off me, brother. I ain't saying no use for it. I'll go a different route. I've had the opportunity to engage with. After I did the Donald Trump rally, y'all, I could have went a whole lot of places. I just didn't want to go nowhere. That thing put me on an international stage, and I fell back from it. But I could have engaged with the current campaigns, but I've decided not to do it because of my disappointment with what happened with the Rahm situation. I don't trust Trump. I don't trust Hillary. I don't trust Jill Stein or nobody else. I'm tired of politicians, period.
Say that.
But I think as he has said, I think that what we meant in good intention to put a light on our quality of life issue has been completely co-opted. It is now a bought and paid for movement. George Soros is not the only funder. He's the only one that's mostly talked about. There was only one black millionaire who funded the Black Lives Matter movement from my research. And right now, I think that it's become so common that the average person is so, people like, man, here go them marches again, here go them protesters again. And the structure, the political structure, I studied it and I've seen those conversations, and I do not think that once this election cycle is over, that our issue is going to get any more resolved than it has been. And I don't think that the Black Lives Matter movement, I think, is going to begin to be, as he put, classified as a hate group or a terrorist group, and it's going to be dismantled.
I think Black Lives Matter will be sustained after, because I think it is ultimately going to be a tool used to batter people into submission on issues that they may not be necessarily for. You know, I hear my young brothers and sisters up here saying that they can't stand politics and people clapping, but politics affects you from the womb to the tomb. You have to have a birth certificate to get in this mug, and you have to have a death certificate to get out. What we have to do is operate in the world that we exist in, not the world as we would like it to be. Black Lives Matter has a tremendous potential if they control their own fate, right? I believe that they will take this newfound funding, develop candidates, and then run them against traditional candidates, or traditional candidates coming from the left, right? So I think that what you saw was someone saw the opportunity with Bernie Sanders and how they were able to utilize this Black Lives Matter movement to drive a wedge straight down the middle of the Democratic Party, very similar to what the Tea Party was able to do on the Republican right. So I think you have to, again, be wise enough to look at what is the plan to the end, right? So what is the end goal? The end goal is probably not to be over after this election, but to create a movement that can be used, as it often is, of our pain and suffering, leveraged against us, utilizing our own youth, because we have not educated them to understand what is actually happening. But yes, it will be sustained.
One of the main issues being that the civil rights movement had a very high level of structure, very strategic organization, in which the people on the front lines were often highly educated, did not have criminal records, did not have poor backgrounds and histories that would dissuade them from being appropriate for white media. That's not what we see with Black Lives Matter. Do you feel as though that is one of the issues and the hurdles that the Black Lives Matter movement has in its negative spotlight casting by the media? The civil rights movement was known for its strategic positioning. They purposely selected certain individuals to stand on the front lines. The majority of those were young people, college educated. They were people who didn't have criminal backgrounds. They were folks who looked well on camera, spoke well on camera, and people who generally would not create a certain level of fear or angst among other non-black people. That's not the argument for Black Lives Matter. The argument is there's a lack of an organizational structure and leadership. There is also anybody, anywhere can be a member of Black Lives Matter. It can be a former gang member. It can be the guy with his pants hanging off his tail. It can be the guy who didn't graduate high school. It can be the guy who just got out of jail yesterday. How do you think this affects the public image of Black Lives Matter? And does it actually push that image in a way that the civil rights movement was actually able to conquer because they were able to control the message by creating and utilizing people who didn't have those backgrounds?
Let me say this. It goes again once we talked about this plan to the end. Plan to the end, plan to the end, plan to the end. What is the outcome? What is the desired outcome of what you want, right? And then you place strategically people in those positions. What I will say is that the challenge for Black Lives Matter, if you get why the civil rights movement was successful, is because white liberals in the North could not bear to see young black kids, school age and below, grandmas getting their heads beat in, right? They just couldn't deal with it. Now, In a city that is crime plagued, where people are feeling like people have run amok, if you don't fit that narrative of the clean-cut kid, then they side with the police or they side with the others. So what you see right now is where in the 50s and 60s, the the old white ladies was clutching their pearls. They like, man, that's probably one of them guys. So I just think that there needs to be a plan to the end, and everybody has a role in it. But sometimes you gotta say, the guy that's at the front, we can't put the folks in the vice lords at the front. They gotta do security on the edges, and they gotta stop stuff. They can't be at the front of it, even though that's where the cameras are and that's where it's sexy. Mo, you can't be up there, right? You got to, you on S. No, real talk, you on S. So, and put people in the places where they can be successful, but know that when you get arrested, if you want somebody to be like, hey, this was terrible, it needs to be a college kid who was on his way to school, who was just out here fighting for his justice. It can't be somebody that's been arrested 25 times, that beat up his grandma and did a whole bunch of other negative things. If you're concerned about the outcomes. Now, if you're concerned about the celebrity of it all, then do what you do.
The Black Lives Matter movement, it's keep in mind back then with the civil rights movement, they practice. They practice, and that's what I think Black Lives Matter, they lack on that. They practice. So I just want to make that real clear real quick.
Do we know our political advocates and our political enemies? And what piece of legislation do we need to get to push Black Lives Matter?
And because they have so many components, but more so since we're talking about the police, and basically I think we need accountability for the police officers when they are responsible for misconduct, and we don't have that. I think that the FOP contract needs to be amended. Here in Chicago, yes, a lot of us do know the political people who we need to talk to, but the issue is they don't want to talk to us because they don't want change.
Okay. How did the Black Lives Matter movement go from an organic movement to a paid for hire movement? The view here is it was never organic to begin with.
I think there was a very amazing distinction that was made here tonight. There is a Black Lives Matter organization, and then there's a Black Lives Matter hashtag. I don't think that the organic Black Lives Matter hashtag has gone anywhere, because I'm one of the people who's had to fall behind the hashtag. And I don't get paid by nobody to do what I do. I do it because it's what I believe in. But I think that there are, I just learned about people actually having salaries to do the same thing I do. And I'm mad as hell, because I be taxed. And I think that I'm trying to figure out, where is all this money that's been invested into this movement, and where are the tangible results? Because if somebody getting paid to do this, I should not have to be doing it as hard as I am. But how are we going to curtail that? To be honest, it's already happening, because people are now becoming aware of what this really is. And now that the people are waking up and the right questions are being asked, we see that it became that. I don't know how they distinguish. No, I do know how they distinguish the two. They went to where the college students were, and they gave them an opportunity and some resources and some freedom to organize. Because one thing that really baffled me was how come when I would go to protest or situation, I kept having these middle class college students in my neighborhood raising hell and then leaving. Because I know who live on my block. And I knew that none of them live in my neighborhood. So it's been both, it's been running parallel, and there's been duality. So there is a distinction. It's not the same thing. Everybody's not paid to do this. Let's not let that be our full picture.
I want to make sure that there is an acknowledgement of everybody in our wonderful panel. So could you guys give them all a round of applause? go around for final comments that you guys have on Black Lives Matter.
I mean, I do support, I think the founders I have met them, they are wonderful sisters, but to the people in the room, we just got to continue to be involved in our communities, to uplift our communities, to make Black lives really matter. We got to start doing what we need to do on our block. Start mentoring the young people, showing them, like me and May's get into it all the time. If you feel like young people that are of color need to be involved in the political arena, show them how to do it. Don't just assume that they know how to do it. So that's basically all I need to say. Just get involved, the people in the room, uplift a young person, millennial become a surrogate, and then when you do, Black lives will matter. We already know it do.
I would just say get engaged, do what works for you. If protesting doesn't work for you, then don't do that. You may be the person that writes the letters, you may be the person that goes stand somewhere, or like they said, print the papers. It doesn't necessarily have to take you to be standing outside protesting to be involved. And then the different chapters, try to find one and figure out where you fit in at. And then just pray, because prayer does change things.
Like it's been said, just get involved. And like it's been said, if you don't protest, just organize behind the scenes, start an organization, start a movement. But as long as you come together collectively, and I think I just want to expound on this, that especially in the community, when people who represent Black Lives Matter are in the community, let's say for example a protest in the Black community, I think. And not to sound racist, not to down talk anybody that's non of color. I think we give a mixed message when we say Black Lives Matter and have white people in Black space in the Black community. I don't know if you guys get what I'm saying. We give a mixed message, especially to the young people. Because when the young people go past and drive past and they see signs say Black Lives Matter, but you got white people holding the sign in the Black community. And like I'm saying, I'm not trying to sound racist, but I think that's something that it's something to think about. But as African Americans, it's time for us to build our own system. We depend on politics too much. We walk through the community every single day. We see trash all in the yard, trash next door, all in front of our yards. We don't sit here and we let it happen. We the ones doing it. And now we want to go protest at the Alderman's office and say clean it up. No, if we doing it, let's get the job done ourselves, and let's abolish the government, abolish the system, and let's come up with community solutions on how to build our own system.
I want to say, first of all, again, I thank the Urban League for allowing me the space. And I'm going to use my wrapper to say this. There's so many people that's in this crowd I may not have a conversation with every day, but a lot of y'all are my heroes. And y'all are the ones that keep pushing me. There's so many people I wish I could just call names. I get in trouble. But you guys make Chicago what it is. And y'all make me damn proud whenever I get to see whatever y'all doing. And you may not recognize your impact or who's watching you, but be it that you are a Black Lives member organization member, or just somebody that's acknowledging the hashtag, you all are effective. And your work matters as well. And what I want to say to people, to the room and for Black Lives Matter is it's time for us to all humble ourselves and start a real conversation. Because like I said, we still got time to fix this mess. We can get out of this. And I think that after 50 years, we're going through all these 50-year commemorations of what Martin Luther King did. But we in the same condition because we're not doing what we're supposed to do. And that's build community and relationship. I want every Caucasian white person in the room to hear me on this. Me saying Black Lives Matter does not mean I'm saying that your life don't. What I'm trying to tell you is that even if you're not a person who wants to oppress me, there are systems and institutions that allows your privilege to still push me down. And the best thing that you can do for the Black Lives Matter movement, first of all, is understand we don't hate you, but recognize we're fighting with everything we got to get our people out of this condition. Just step aside and let us do our work. Say that. And the last thing I'm gonna say is to anybody in here that's in the church. You got a lot of shouting, we raising a lot of money, but we ain't doing enough work. And as a young man being a pastor, from when I was growing up, was one of the most powerful individuals in the community. The educated one that everybody went to for hope, healing, and direction. But I don't have that many pastor friends. Because if I believe if Jesus was walking around according to our faith, he'd be shutting down a whole lot of these doors and knocking over a whole lot of these money changers. We have robbed our community with our faith. And it was not supposed to happen that way. When you get done shouting, do actually what the Bible says. Get to work, and then Black Lives Matter.
Let me start by saying, first of all, I want to thank the Urban League for putting on this panel because I think it was a needed discussion. I'd like to take the opportunity to thank Amisha Cross, who we have Facebook battles as well as Facebook agreements, but Amisha's been with us since the Southside Music Festival when she was the queen of black whatever it was. I can't remember what it was, but I do want to thank Amisha as well. Because I have to go home, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge my beautiful wife, Commissioner Carrie Steele from the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District, who is in the back. All right. And I want to thank you all for taking time out and listening to my rants and raves. I want to say a couple things. Well, not like I haven't said a million things. First of all, regardless of what you've heard here, I love all of our black brothers and sisters, and I want to find intersections where we can connect. I believe that everyone up here on this panel, regardless of whether we are in the same box, are all trying to push our community forward in the best ways that we know how. I want to especially commend Lamon because I had no clue that he was 17 years old until we started doing this. And that brother is on the front line of everything all the time, and so we want to make sure that we provide those young brothers the support that they need so we can grow our own, so that he ain't taking direction from anyone else. Not that that's not a diss at all. But I also would like to commend the Black Lives Matter movement, hashtag, whatever the heck it is, either side. Because what it did was, it really forced a conversation within a group of people that has continually taken us for granted for years and years and years and years. We don't have an option to vote Republican. And you don't have an option to really speak up when you're a Democrat because the option is a Republican. But we all know what we live and what we face, particularly living in a city like Chicago, right? Where, Donald Trump is represented by Democrats, leaders of our party. So I want to thank the Black Lives Matter movement for forcing the conversation. What you are now seeing is our elected officials now have to be accountable to more than just the party bosses, right? So now, for those of us that are traditional, we got kind of an option, but these young people are pushing the envelope, and as you continue to push the envelope, you force our elected officials to fight harder for things that impact our community. I'm gonna tell you guys, and then I'm gonna let this go. I think that our future politically is bright. For years and years and years, they always recruited less educated blacks. I think right now we have the most number of lawyers, black lawyers that are in Springfield ever, right? That are just waiting for their moment where they can explode. You're seeing it at City Council. You are seeing a much more educated elected official who now is coming from this group who has to answer the questions. So, I'm gonna tell you, Black Lives Matter, the movement, organization, or Black Lives Matter, the hashtag. Keep pushing, because we're forcing the issue. We just need to be making sure we're forcing the right issues and that we're determining our agenda. It is not being determined by liberal whites who think they know what's best for us, or people who don't have our best interests at hand. Thank you all very much. I appreciate that.